lẹ́yìn Jésù kò sẹ́nìkan o. Ọba mímọ́ lọ́ba tí mo dìrọ̀ mọ́. Ọmọ mi ró, ó gbé mi ró. Lẹ́yìn Jésù kò sẹ́nìkan o. Ó pa mí mọ́ ohun mímú. Alágbára mo mọ orúkọ rẹ̀. Lẹ́yìn Jésù kò sí o. Lẹ́yìn Jésù kò sẹ́nìkan o. Ọba mímọ́ lọ́ba tí mo ṣe. Lẹ́yìn Jésù kò sí. Lẹ́yìn Jésù kò sẹ́nìkan o. Lelelelele, alágbára mo mọ orúkọ rẹ̀. When I am down and my soul so weary, when sorrow comes, I'm on my way. You raise me up so I can climb the mountain. You raise me up to walk upon the sea. You raise me up so I can stand the mountain. You raise me up to walk on the sea. Oh, I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Yeah, you raise me up to more than I can be. Oh, see what the Lord has done in my life. See what the Lord has done. Oh, what I waited for has come to pass. See what the Lord has done. Tell your neighbor, see what the Lord has done. See what the Lord has done. See what the Lord has done. What I'm waiting for, what I'm waiting for has come to be. See what the Lord has done. See what the Lord has done in my life. He is so wonderful. Oh, see what the Lord has done in my home. He is so wonderful. See what the Lord has done in my place of work. Oh, He's so wonderful. See what the Lord has done everywhere. He's so wonderful. Oh, 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 oh. Le, le, le. 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 Oh, 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 oh. So if you are sure, say, I'm pressing on the upward way, new height again, lean every day, still praying us, high onward bound, Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up, Lord, lift me up, and let me stand. My feet on heaven's stable land. Oh yeah, I have played, that I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher. Miracle, not the tired Jesus, so. The blessing, not the tired Jesus, so. You don't do am before, you still there do am again. Miracle, no the tired Jesus. Miracle, no the tired Jesus. So the blessing, no the tired Jesus. So You don't do one before, you still dey do one again. God, miracle no dey tire Jesus. You dey do wonder, yeah. You dey do wonder, yeah. You turn my life around, give me a brand new song. Jesus, you dey do wonder, yeah. I searched all over, couldn't find nobody. I look high and low, couldn't find nobody. So it's safe to say, nobody's great. I can surely say, nobody's great. Hey, nobody's greater than you. It is safe to say nobody's great. Nobody's great. Oh, oh, nobody's great. Hey, nobody's greater than you. Searched all over, I searched all over, couldn't find nobody. High and low, I look high and low, couldn't find nobody, couldn't find nobody. Nobody's great, nobody's great, nobody's great, nobody's great. Hey, nobody's greater than you. Nobody's great, nobody's great. Oh, nobody's great. Nobody's greater than you. Look inwards. Say, you made my life so beautiful. As a man after your heart. And as you are, you have made me here. I look at, there's nothing greater than thee. You formed me after your likeness. That's why I love you forevermore, forevermore. You made my life, you made my life so beautiful. I'm looking at my life where I started from. And as you are, you order my step every day. And I'm becoming more like you. There's nothing greater than thee. That's why I love you. That's why I love you. Forevermore. Somebody say, I want more of you. I want more of you. Ah, can you imagine being like Jesus? I want more of you. Can you imagine having the fullness of His richness? The more I want to know you more. I want to know you, Jesus. More of you. The more I know you. Or I know you. More of you. I want more of you, Lord. I want more of you. Jesus, the more I know you. Hey! When I know you, I don't make errors. When I know you, I'm lifted. To see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. To see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee in every circumstances, day by day. Man, can you say to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, every day, follow thee more nearly, day by day, to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. I want to be like you, Jesus. I want to know more of you. I want more of your grace. I want more of that teaching. I want more of that leading. I want to know you clearly. I want to follow you more nearly. Help me, Lord. 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 My help. I want you to acknowledge this. My help. My help. All of my help cometh from the Lord. My help. As a man. My help. My help. My help. Where does it come from? All of my help cometh from the Lord. I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, the one who made heaven and earth. He said he will not suffer my foot to be moved. The Lord that keepeth thee, he will not slumber, he will not slumber nor sleep. Oh, the Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shield upon thy right hand, upon thy right hand. Oh, no, the sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. He shall preserve my soul, even forevermore. My help, my help, my help, my help. All of my help cometh from the Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Amen.
All of my help. All of my help cometh from the Lord. Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my moments and my days, let them be in ceaseless praise. I have decided, no matter what, to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided turning back. No turning back. No turning back.
No turning back.
You take the whole world and give me Jesus. You take the whole world. Jesus is enough. And give me Jesus. You take the whole world and give me Jesus. No turning back, oh, no turning back. If all I see is Jesus, 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 that's more than enough. Yeah. If all I see is Jesus, 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 that's more than enough. If all I see, yeah. Oh, if all I see is Jesus, 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 that's more than enough. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Beside him there's no other. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Beside him there's no other. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Beside him there's no other. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other. Jesus is the way. I'm gonna take the last song now and I'll hold on the mic. The Bible says there's a bread and man, the Spirit of God giveth him inspiration. So just breathe your name upon me. Breathe. In this conference, no matter what the speaker says, just breathe your name upon me. Breathe. Let me draw inspiration from the Spirit. Your way, your name is your name. Breathe, Lord. Just breathe your name upon me. Just breathe your name upon me. Breathe. Oh, Father to Son, Spirit to Spirit, lighted by your word. With your bread of life, and with your bread of life. Oh, that's how I come alive. That's how I change my world. Can I hand over to the moderator now? Just breathe your name upon me. Breathe. Just breathe your name. Just breathe your name upon me. Breathe. Your way, your name. Your way is your name. Breathe, Lord. Just breathe your name. Just breathe your name upon me. Just breathe your name. Just breathe your name upon me. Breathe. Just breathe your name. Just breathe your name upon me. Breathe. Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Yahweh is your name. Yeah, just like it was in the beginning. Yeah, before I came to know you. Yahweh, Yahweh,
Yahweh is your name. Breathe, Lord.
Just breathe your name.
Just breathe your name upon me.
Hey, just you said to Isaac, just like you said to Isaac, stay in this land, plant. Oh, yes, Lord. Just as your instruction best progress. Your way, your way.
Yahweh, Yahweh is your name. Breathe, Lord.
Just breathe your name.
Just breathe your name upon me.
Channels of my spirit
Open up.
Hey, I am with the Father.
Open up.
In God, no boundaries, no limit.
Open up. Let deep come unto deep. Open up.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Our Father and our Lord, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for the awesome opportunity you have given unto us to gather as men. We ask, O God, that in our gathering you will breathe upon us. You will give us wisdom that is beyond understanding, knowledge that cannot be comprehended, and favor that cannot be disputed. In the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Father Lord. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. Please, can you help us with the other this thing that we can use? Oh, thank you. Please, let's be seated. Apologies for us starting late. We're expecting more men to show up, but my prayer is that they will show up. That no one that is destined to benefit from this conference will be missing. So I want to use this opportunity to welcome every one of us to this seminar. When Pastor was trying to capture what it was that we're going to do here, I'm sure the thing came to Pastor and he struggled with it, because we are coming here to speak about financial literacy. And he will look as if, am I an illiterate? Yes, I am. I don't know everything about money. The only thing I know about money is that it's a means of exchange, and I was taught that years ago. So, but there's so much about money. And there is no better time to talk about this, than now. Most of us make financial decisions that is not informed. Probably informed. No, they are informed, probably, but by the wrong motives. But I believe that at the end of this day, we will be making deliberate decisions about money, what we use money for, where we put it to work, and what we use it to procure. So we are in a world where the financial landscape is fastly evolving. Yesterday, the same central bank governor, gave an indication of how the policy direction of the central bank. Now, the question is, how many of us have bothered, to look at what he said? How many of us even knew that such a thing was going to happen at a cool hotel? And some of us might know and not bother. But what some of the things he said there could actually make the difference between light and day, between prosperity, stagnation, and retrogression in terms of what we do with money. I remember once when the governor, the central bank, said that they are going to Soludo, they are going to ask banks to recapitalize. Some of us lost money in banks that could not recapitalize, and it is all there in their financial statements, on their annual reports. So, no better time, because things are changing fastly. I'm still trying to understand cryptocurrency, even though I'm not going to put my money there, and I've not put my money there. But I'm still interested to say what is backing cryptocurrency. But I don't think we are talking about cryptocurrency here. When it came down to less than $20,000, I knew it was going to go up. But I could not put my money there. And it's up there too, really. So Nigeria is a vibrant nation, you know, with so strong an economy that we are termed, you know, the biggest economy in Africa by GDP. However, we stand at the crossroad of progress, which means that the need for financial literacy has never been more important than now. Now, I want to urge us that as we convene today, we must recognize the imperative of equipping ourselves with the knowledge and skills necessary to navigate the intricate web of financial literacy. Now, this conference we are having is a product of so many weeks that translates to months of deliberations that we've had. What do you want us to teach about money, about finance? So we came together, we passed through some of these knowledges through some of us, before we now arrived at what we are about to hear today. So the person we have the honor of having in our midst, excuse me, someone that is better skilled to teach us. Don't look at our YBS. So some of us are dying the YBS. So that is better skilled, and is in no person than Mr. Olatunde Oluwatuyi. Please, let's clap for Jesus. Now, he's the present head of retail in FBN Quest. I think that's correct. In FBN Quest, he has had several years in investment. I think you've worked with Codros. You know, all these informations are all out there. You don't need to ask. You've worked with Codros. Codros was set up by somebody that I'd worked with from afar. So he's better skilled to teach us these things. And I want us to take notes. The notes you are giving and the pen is not for decoration. Please take down notes. Take down notes. And I want us at the end of his presentation to engage him vigorously also in terms of any gray area. There is nothing that is beyond questioning. They said the only foolish or stupid question is the one that was never asked. So if you have something on your mind and you refuse to say it, then that translates to a stupid question. So let's take down notes, and the Lord will bless us. So I have the honor of inviting onto the podium Mr. Olatunde Oluwatuyi. Let's clap for him.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. Is it afternoon already? I think it's still morning. Yeah, the residing pastor, the executive of the Men's Fellowship, I acknowledge and stand on all protocols. Like you rightly said, my name is Olatunde Oluwatuyi from FBN Quest. I've had considerable years of experience in the banking world. I started from commercial banking, then I did a bit of mortgage banking and investment banking. Though I'm a mathematician by certificate, I also did masters in financial mathematics. But it's finance anyway. And I'm also a stockbroker, an authorized dealing clerk of Nigerian Exchange as well. So I believe you are going to have a very fruitful session. Feel free to ask questions, anything you have in mind, that you believe will be beneficial to everyone available in the session or everyone in attendance, please feel free. So today we'll be looking at financial planning, guaranteed tomorrow. People talk about financial skills. People try to even have opinion around the stock market, around the debt market. You know, people tell you about fixed deposit. People tell you about treasury bills. But what some don't really pay attention to is the planning part of it, like financial planning. It's even possible to be skilled when it comes to investments. You know the bonds that can give you the high yield. But still, we've had a lot of banks that have even entered crisis when it comes to that faulty financial management. Of course, you see them investing in bonds, see them investing in, to them, secured investment. But without planning, they might still enter crisis, because if you lock all your monies in the bond market, and at the end of the day, the bond market is dropping, like prices are dropping. And as a bank, you have a lot of depositors calling for their monies. The bank may have no choice than to sell at even losses. You know, to them, they are skilled. They know the bonds that could give you. They know, but planning is very, very important. Please, let's go to the first slide. But before that, let me quickly, the next slide, please. Let me speak to FBN Quest. And the next slide, please. FBN Quest is a subsidiary of FBN Holdings. When people say, you people are First Bank is a subsidiary as well of FBN Holdings. FBN Holdings is the group, and we have other subsidiaries where we have First Bank of Nigeria. We have FBN Quest as well as a subsidiary. And we've won both local and international awards over the years. As at the end of December last year, for FBN Quest Asset Management now, to be precise, we are managing about 505 billion as at the end of last year. By the end of this year, definitely the figure there will be reviewed. We have 7 listed mutual funds. Our market share as at today is even close to 20% already. And we've had more than 45 years of experience in investment management business. Next slide, please. Yeah, I've already spoken to this. Let's just go straight to financial planning. Yeah, so we've had a lot of scholars. They've given a lot of definitions, analysis on financial planning. Let me just stick to the first one. Financial planning is the practice of putting together a plan for your future, specifically around how you manage your finances and prepare for all the potential costs and issues that may arise. Financial planning is not the same as investment management or investment planning. We live in the life of costs, bills. Even when we save, savings is still targeted towards a cost. Even when we lock in some monies in our investment, it is still targeted towards a cost. So putting all the potential costs together, or analyzing all the possible expenditure to identify the issues that may arise. Some issues are constant. School fees, rent, feeding, those are constant. Some, they just come. You sleep, you feel you've settled all the bills. Tomorrow, something will just come up. You realize that even though one ends well, you realize that when sudden expenditure comes up, you see people struggling. So having that proper financial planning can always help to scale through any event, any possible expenditure that comes up. Sorry, next slide. Next slide, please. So now we're looking at the benefits, why one should plan. Benefits of financial planning. Why should you plan? Fine, someone will tell you, I earn a lot of money, no matter what comes. My salary will take care of it. My rental income will take care of it. Even coupons on investment will take care of it. But at the same time, there is still need to plan. Planning requires you sitting down, itemizing. Oh, for this month, these are the possible costs. These are the possible expenditures. Looking at the benefits, I will start from that retirement, deserving retirement. I believe maybe a few times we've met people during their active work life. They are the big men. The money wasn't a problem. But at retirement, story changes. And you begin to wonder, no be this baba with the, we've seen them. And trust me, sometimes it's not because they are wasteful. It could just be the fact that maybe the life was really soaked in philanthropy, which is not bad as well. It attracts blessing. Or maybe a lot of family issues that even while they are also taking care of themselves and being seen as the big men, but they couldn't really secure a portion. The portion to be secured is probably being expensed on all other activities. So when we plan our financial life properly, trust me, that deserving retirement will definitely come into play. It won't be that, have they paid pension? You will not even worry about that, even though it is our money. We also have financial independence and security. When we plan our financial life properly, we have that independence. You are not being caught unawares. Like people in the private sector. Before you know, policy will just come. Before you know, a management decision will just come that will throw people off balance. We've seen a lot of people that they were doing fine as private sector experts. But before you know, if anything happens in the industry, it changes everything. People are forced to probably change location, change children's schools. You know, life happens. It does. So when we have proper financial planning, financial independence is guaranteed, no matter what life throws. We also have improved financial understanding. When we plan our financial life properly, you have that financial understanding. At least it is someone that we itemize or put down, oh, at the end of the month, I'm making ₦1 million. This is for this, this is for this. This is a balance which can be into savings. It is someone that takes time to even itemize this, that would realize that this balance for savings, it can go to treasury bills. Last auction of treasury bills even yield close to 17%, 16.75 if I'm right, for 364 bills. It is someone that takes time to even follow up with itemizing income and expenditure, that would even take time to check that this balance, where is it going to? Can it go to mutual fund? Can it go to fixed deposit? Some, their risk appetite is high, and that is fine, provided that the risk appetite can match maybe the age. People below 40, fine. This can propel you to think even outside the box and look at investment like stocks, like the treasury bills, like the fixed deposit, like the mutual funds. So these are the benefits of financial planning. Next slide, please. So now talking about the steps towards achieving the financial goals. Number one, we need to understand that while itemizing your financial plan, definitely there will likely be goals that at the end of the year, I want to complete my building at so-so location. In 2 years' time, I want to get married, and I don't just want any other wedding. I want the society wedding. Some prefer that, some don't mind. Ladies in the house, I'm speaking your mind. 2 years' time or 3 years' time, I want to go back to school. I want to write a certification. These are plans. I want to travel. Tourism is part of life, like part of education, part of way of refreshing our lives, our minds, rather. So you identifying, definitely you've been able to identify the financial goals. Now, why identifying the financial goals? Have this in mind. Goals are supposed to be smart. You know, some don't tell themselves the truth. They want the best things of life. Why wanting the best things of life? Also, be able to face reality. What comes in? So amount. What can this achieve if I calculate or if I contribute portion of this over a period of time? This is being realistic to yourself. So that's the R part of smart. Like we have the specific, this is what I want. I want to travel, or I want to complete my house. I need a car. I'm tired of the all these buses, you know. Measurable, like, oh, I want to buy a car. This is the cost. I don't want Nigerian use. It's better I buy a brand new or direct. You know, you have to, it has to be measurable in the sense that you should be able to speak figure to it. You don't just say, I need a car. Which car? Okay, 3 million or 5 million. You are setting a unit of measurement on the goal. Then it must be actionable. There are some goals that are not actionable, and that's the truth. You just dream of something that, are they actionable? Then realistic, time-bound. We don't just set goals without even having a timeline. It is very, very important. And to the youth, it is really, really important because I've seen quite a number of people that they've had targets, they've had plans, because they don't really have, the timeline has never been there for them. I used to work with one guy then, like, he's always telling you, don't worry, this year I marry. Every year, for more than how many years? And, oh God, you don't pass 40, do something. Don't worry, you know, it is always good to not only be specific, have a time bound around it. Then analyze your current financial condition. Tell yourself the truth. You want to live the lie, you want to live lie. Source of income is just one. For most people, the salary or the income from one business. We need to tell ourselves the truth. Analyze the current financial condition. There's nothing wrong if your source of income is one, even though it is not the best. We are only striving to increase it so that we will not be limited to just one source of income. So we need to analyze the current financial condition, that if this money comes this month, we cannot lie myself. These expenditures, you cannot take them away. Welfare package for family, some other, even social life is still part of it. Somehow, in as much as you are doing it in a very limited form. So you need to analyze your current financial condition, then identify your risk appetite. Most Nigerians, their risk appetite is low, but they want 100% return on investment. You must identify your risk appetite. If you want 100% return on investment, then you should be able to tell yourself the truth that if I lose this money, hey, I'm okay now, I'm open to risk now. You must understand your risk appetite. Don't just say, people are putting money here now, let me put money here now. You must understand your risk appetite. It is very important. Create a financial plan and act. Some, they can write, they can tell you, when it comes to budgeting, give it to them. They will give you proper budgets. But act, it becomes a problem. Why itemizing? You admitted that maybe 30% of your monthly income would go to maybe some identified stocks. Month one passed. This is November now. Some have not acted, even though they had budget, they had plans at the beginning of the year. So we must not just make the plan, we must act. And lastly, review periodically. Don't just have that financial plan or even have the investment package and you leave it there. Majority have lost money in stocks. Not because they didn't buy the right stocks, but because they even abandoned it. They didn't even review. A stock might be a buy option today, and few weeks' time, it will no longer be a buyer. It will be an I sell option. When we review periodically, reviewing not only the investment, the financial plan. When you review that, truly, when I was budgeting at the beginning of the year with an income of 1 million naira per month, now, income has increased now. At least some organizations, after the subsidy, they felt they should even, some even got even 100%. You should be able to, like, okay, let me review. Okay, it was 1 million before, now it's 2 million, now it's 1.5, now it's 500. No matter the income benchmark that you are operating in, you should be able to review periodically that how far, know the success level. Where are we now? Where am I? Where do I want to be? We must learn to review periodically. Don't let us just be the people, or among the people that would have plans. They draw the plan, they dump it. Or people that even buy investment, they have a lot of money in investment. They just buy it, they dump it. Majority were trapped in Ghana Euro bonds. Even when the alarming was everywhere, oh, it's becoming shaky, some didn't care. Even though we still believe that the money will come out. So those that invested in Ghana Euro bonds. So we must learn to review periodically. Sorry, please, next slide. Yeah, so now, this will now be bringing us to some investments that you can consider. And I'm going to start from the very low-risk investment. So the first one is the money market fund. Money market fund is just like your bank savings account. It's not a fixed deposit. It's open-ended. You have money today, you add it. You feel like taking out some money tomorrow, you take it. But what matters, you earn on your investments daily. Because any rate given to you on mutual funds, on this particular money market fund, it is per annum. So if I'm telling you, it's currently sitting around 11% per annum. So if I'm telling you 11% per annum, that would be 11% divided by 365. It will give you what you will get for that day. So on money market fund, you earn daily. And at the end of every quarter, the total amount you've earned for that period of about 90 days will be added together and paid either to your bank account or added to your principal amount. That is money market fund. We have series of money market fund. I think we have about 18 or thereabouts or more in the market, but this is FBN money market fund. And for this money market fund, it was launched in 2012, and the fund size, as at the end of last month, is 190 billion, and the minimum to start with is 5,000 naira. Minimum holding period is actually 30 days. So, but what makes this investment a low-risk investment? You know, sometimes when people sell investment to us, they just tell you, you are getting 20% per month, 100% in 6 months. You know, people just give you figures. People don't bother to ask, where is this money going to? You just see something, Ade Investment Limited, 50%, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they even tell you that, okay, we are doing agric. Which agric now? Where is the farm? They will tell you, you know, we should have this inquisitive mind, this speculative mind that where is this money going to? Don't let us just limit our idea or knowledge to, I'm getting 20% at the end of the month. If the 20% does not come and your principal does not come, you go police, you drag. At the end of the day, you will be at the losing end. And you will even be begging that, just give me 50% of my principal, let me just go. We shouldn't get to that level. So like this money market fund, for example, the asset allocations, you can see them here. Tenor placements in commercial banks, T-bills, then other money market instruments like the commercial paper. These are low-risk investment. And some will tell you, I don't want mutual fund. I want to invest directly into the asset, which is like the T-bills. I want to buy T-bills. Fine, you buy. In as much as the stop rate matches what you want, fine. You want to buy commercial paper, fine. It's just that in FBN Quest, we are very conservative when it comes to investment. We've never had a story of maybe one money yanked somewhere or maybe the delayed payment for one. No. We are very selective when it comes to even admittance of commercial papers that we sell to the public. No. You can take it to another house, not in FBN Quest. So these are the underlying assets, and they are low risk. For those that have not invested in treasury bills before, it's just a government instrument. It's being issued every 2 weeks. It's issued every 2 weeks. You can buy through your bank. But now that you are exposed to the investment side, come to FBN Quest. Of course, commercial banks sell. But when you do investment directly with a specialized investment bank, it's better for you. When opportunities are on ground, they will let you know. In as much as you've been able to build relationship with your relationship manager or investor, they will always tell you that there is a commercial paper, there is a, you will always be carried along. So this is money market fund. And the beauty of this fund, there's an app. Once you have the account, you can go to the app, you see what you've made, you see the principal amount, you see what is coming daily. You are fine. It also helps you to also track your investment, to also track your investment plan. Because once you have the investment plan, you need to also be reviewing. That is it matching. I've already projected to have about 10% annual returns from my mutual fund. Am I getting it? That is you reviewing periodically. Situation whereby it's not going as planned, you can always change your strategy. That, okay, instead of putting the 100% in money market fund, I can consider another fund, maybe the bond fund, or even equities. Some, they tell you, okay, a portion of my fund must go to shares. Now, Nigerian stock market has been doing very well. That's the truth. Even though some still don't want to accept. For many, it has been doing very well. In 2020, Nigerian market was arguably the best in the world. It returned over 60% ASI growth. Yes. So, but that is for people with higher risk appetites. So this is money market fund. We also have the bond fund. You can go to the next slide. Though the bond fund is similar, the reason why they don't buy bonds is because of the tenor. When they tell you 5-year bond, 15-year bond, some just like 1 year, they are fine. Some like to be doing their financial plan yearly. They don't like to just lock it in. So a situation whereby you don't want a very long-term investment, you don't want to invest directly in a bond, there's a bond fund. And for this bond fund, after 90 days, you can have access to your money. Then you also earn. When the returns is paid actually once now, it's paid annually. So that is bond fund. And for bond fund, the valuation method that an investment house like FBN Quest makes use of is amortization model. We try, your principal is protected, then you earn based on the price movement. So this is bond fund. And some will say, I prefer the bond directly. Because one thing about mutual fund, we need to understand the idea of mutual fund. Mutual fund is designed for a lot of contributors. Like, we can have a mutual fund now. It can be any name. It can be equity mutual fund. It can be money market fund. But it is a mutual fund. Mutual fund is different investors would have. Me, I have 1 million. Me, I have 5,000. Because if you have 5,000, you cannot buy bond, you cannot buy any instrument. So this is the essence of this fund. Monies will be collated and will be invested and professionally managed on behalf of the contributors. So at the end of the period when income is being distributed, then you that drop 1 million, how many units were you able to get? You'll be paid based on number of units you have, maybe 2 naira per unit or 5 naira per unit. That is mutual funds. So this is the bond fund for those that will not like to invest directly into bond. You can consider a bond fund. And bond fund, historically, last year alone, this fund returned way over 13%. This particular fund, yeah. So please go to the next slide. Then now, people talk about currency devaluation. Purchasing power is getting lower. People that have invested too much in Naira, they are losing value because of the devaluation, because of the weakened Naira. Then, the best time to invest in a dollar fund or a dollar investment, it was actually yesterday. The second best time is today. So for those that want to diversify, you don't want to be too exposed to Naira. You also want to consider, dollar, because it will also not be good. It also shows some. I actually met some, all the money invested in dollar. Then when liquidity became an issue, to sell the dollar and convert back, he actually made some FX loss. That is also where financial planning comes in. All your expenditure is in Naira. You can't put all your money in dollar. Sometimes it could favor you. the market could also read against you. So for those that want to properly spread and diversify, just consider a dollar fund. And for dollar fund as well, this particular fund has actually returned about 8% this year. In fact, there's another version of a dollar fund. That one is the specialized dollar fund. Specialized dollar fund has returned way above 10% this year. Imagine earning double digits on a dollar-denominated investment. Even in the US market, I'm not sure you will see double digits on their T-bills on any of their investments there. You hardly. But we have a fund in Nigeria, a dollar-denominated fund, that is even returning double digits. So if you want to diversify, consider a dollar fund as well. While taking positions for Naira, also consider dollar. So that is for dollar fund. So quickly, let me speak to, you can go to the next slide, to portfolio management or treasury management. You know, I mentioned risk. For those with low risk appetite, let me tell you, anybody that will give you crazy rates, tell you 20%, 25%, we need to face the reality. The reality is, if your risk appetite is low, anything obtainable in the market that they are giving you, stick to it. You can see our rate guide for fixed deposit. The maximum you even see there is 11%. Though sometimes rates are negotiable when we can now check the market that, okay, since we have 12 years, could it be 13? If it's 13, are there instruments that can cover for it? They are actually flexible. They are not static. So this is like fixed deposit. That is the liquidity management. When you say, have some monies, but I don't want to make use of the money now. In the next, let's say, 60 days or 6 months, that is when I need it. You can consider a fixed deposit, like the liquidity management. And one thing about liquidity management, when they tell you that you are getting 12, 13%, you will get a certificate, it's there. At maturity, I'm taking my principal, I'm taking my interest, no story. What makes it different from the mutual fund that we mentioned earlier? Mutual fund, the rate can change. In fact, it changes daily. Remember I said you earn daily on the fund. It changes daily depending on the performance of the underlying asset. So rate changes for that one. But for liquidity management, it is fixed deposit. Your 10% is 10%. Your 12% is 12%. And the good thing about the investment landscape, we are expecting higher returns on investment in the coming weeks and coming months. So we even expect better performance when it comes to fixed deposit. Sorry, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. And now let me speak to portfolio management now. There are some. I have the money, but I don't have the time to be reviewing periodically. So let me pay you as an expert. Be doing the review for me. This is where portfolio management comes in. But before we start a business relationship or portfolio management with you, we ask some questions. What are your objectives? What are your beliefs? Some will tell you, my risk is very low, so I don't want element of stock in my portfolio. And some will tell you, okay, I can accommodate maybe 20 to 30% of stocks, but please, because of my belief, anything beauty, I don't want. Anything this. We get your objectives. And once you have your objective, we work with that. And at the end of the day, we maximize the returns that you can get. And in FBN Quest, we manage endowment funds for companies, for NGOs, for a lot of sovereign institutions. So we also cover the oil and gas sector, the financial services. We still manage for some banks. So, and one thing that, sorry, I didn't mention there, we also manage funds for churches. We manage funds in a very ethical, professional manner, and we give reports that, oh, maybe there's a committee, like the committee might say, at the end of every month, I need a report on the investment, the performance report on the investment. We do that. So, though the minimum is actually 150 for portfolio management service. Please go to the next slide. Still on portfolio management service. So what we do, we profile you as an investor. That, oh, this person is below so age. So maybe the risk appetite may be a bit higher. Or then also we do asset allocation. That, okay, since the person might not be calling from the fund, maybe regularly, it could be that, okay, a portion can be in bonds. We can lock it in bond, then idea generation, portfolio reconstruction. We do that. This comes under periodical review. That, okay, maybe we have been too exposed to the fixed income side. Let us do this. Let us do that. Oh, now the equities market is even showing a lot of promise. We can say, why limit it to 10% when it can be 15% exposure? But what matters at the end of the day, the portfolio is professionally managed in a very, very safe way, where your returns is also maximized. Then portfolio rebalancing, I've also mentioned that it is still more like adjusting the portfolio and rebalancing it. Please, you can go to the next slide. So now it's still the same under the portfolio management service, where we give reporting, we give you feedback and activities on the portfolio. Please, you can go to the next slide. So now, there are some. They don't really want the idea of mutual funds, fixed deposits. They want to play actively in the market, which is fine, provided that you have the knowledge of what you're going to and you are well advised. So we have the debt market, then we have the equities market. Debt market, this is where you see the issuance of bonds. This is when a company comes or a sovereign nation comes and tell the public, I want to raise money. I need money, be it for projects, be it for anything. Then subscribers will invest, like the FGM bonds. We have the corporate bonds and what have you. We have the commercial papers. So, for commercial papers, this is limited to companies, when companies need short-term funds, probably maybe for working capital, or because usually the longest tenure on commercial paper is 270 days. So you can choose to invest directly in a commercial paper through an investment house like FBN Quest. And sometimes, as an investment house, we also issue out our own commercial paper. And in that case, it will be FBN Quest commercial paper. Recently, we had MTN commercial paper. So these are investment opportunities that you find under the debt market. So the equities market, I will not overflow that. I've been speaking to that. Maybe because I started my training in the market as a stockbroker before focusing on asset management. So for equities market, you also make, this is when you buy shares. When they mention equity means contributor. When they tell you you are equity contributor of a company. Like I tell people, if you have a company that you so much admire, you can become part of the owner, even if it is 10 units. At least you are a proud owner of a bank. So that is shares, equity. You have your own portion for equities. And like I said, you can always invest in equities through a stockbroker, and that is fine. So that is more like everything I have. So now I'm open to questions. But before then, though, let me quickly speak to our equities fund. I've mentioned mutual fund, series of mutual fund, the money market fund, the bond fund, the dollar fund. We have an equity fund in First Bank in BN Quest. Equity funds is actually not low risk like others. Shares, when you buy shares, it's not low risk. If you buy a share of 100 naira per unit and it becomes 95, you're actually losing at that moment, but you're actually not losing until you sell at that price. So we sat down, we realized that majority want to invest directly in shares, but because of the high risk, because of the fact that they might not readily be available to monitor the stock. So we created a fund, equity fund, more like stock fund, that you don't even need to go and buy direct shares. Just put your money in the equity fund. Then the professionals that we have in-house, they will be the one to allocate the distribution of stock in the portfolio. And at the end, maximize your returns. Our equities fund this year already has returned about 53% ROI. Yes. FBN Smart Beta Fund has returned, which means if you had invested 50 million, you would have made more than 25 million, just like. But like I keep saying, the best time to invest in some of these things, it was yesterday. So the second best time is today. So you can still consider an equity fund. And advantage of equity fund, that diversification of investment, it helps with diversification. Returns on investment is really high. Now people complain about negative real rate of returns. Inflation, I think the last report was around 27.33%, if I'm correct. Most of the fixed deposits will not give that. T-bills will not give that. Mutual fund or money market fund, like to be precise, will likely not give that, at least for now. Then, if you're now looking at a returns that can outperform the inflation rate, you can consider an equity fund, but pay attention to your risk appetite because it's a price-driven fund. It can go up, it can go down. But we advise people, if you want to consider an equity fund, have a long-term perspective on the fund. Because if you have a long-term, even if price drops, you can always wait and study, observe the price to go up again and enjoy high returns on investment that will be more than the inflation rate, and you enjoy your positive real rate of returns. So like I said, medium to long-term investment, it helps in the area of diversification. So that is like the summary of the financial markets, because believe it's best not to just limit it to financial planning. We should also extend it to investment, planning, and management. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of this class. So if you have questions, you can feel free to. Then for the slide will definitely be shared. So if you wouldn't mind, there is a sheet here that can be passed around for, you can drop your email addresses there. It will definitely be sent. So it's going to be here. So do we have questions, please? Okay.
Check. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Thank you very much for
You're welcome.
the information you're giving. I want you to shed more light on Eurobonds issued by the Debt Management Office. Right? Okay. And what's the minimum investment on the FBN dollar fund?
Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Let me start from the one pertaining to FBN Quest. So the minimum is $1,000 for FBN dollar fund, $1,000. And the good thing about investing in the fund is, even if you don't have the dollar, you can move Naira to us through VetoFX. We have the partnership with VetoFX. It's an international FX platform. Then it will be converted to dollar on your behalf and moved to your dollar portfolio. And when you are withdrawing, you don't withdraw Naira, you withdraw your dollar. You ready? It will be at the parallel market rate. It's here at parallel market rate, not I&E. Then, sorry, sir. To answer so for Euro bonds, like the dollar fund, for example, dollar fund is majorly invested in Euro bonds, both sovereign Euro bonds and corporate Euro bonds. So Euro bond is when an issuer, a company or a nation comes out and speak to the market to raise funds. So that is Eurobond. And for Eurobond, the beauty of the dollar fund is because entry amount for Eurobond is usually high. It's usually high, very, very high. In fact, around $200,000. So except you are now buying in bits at a secondary market, but a new issue is usually $200,000. So if the entry point is too high, then a dollar fund is advised. Thank you. Okay, sir.
Thank you for the seminar or talks. I try to invest in dollar fund. When I try to open it through your apps, I discovered that they have to move the money to a bank abroad. Then the question I want to ask, I hope it will not attract charges because I was asked to move the money to a bank abroad. I don't want to mention the bank. Then also the apps. I was trying to open the apps. They have issue with. Maybe I will see you later when you finish.
Okay. In fact, I'm so happy. Yeah. Okay. You have. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So sorry, sir. Let me quickly speak to that. So for when you are transferring, in fact, we don't do local transfers. If you go to your bank, not even I wanted to say FCM, First Bank, you don't do local. You have to transfer through a correspondence bank. So it is the bank you want to pay into us, right? You are moving the money to us. It is the bank that will now tell you the charges. So most times, charges could be $50, it could be $100, depending on the size. So you cannot pay directly to us. It has to be through a correspondence bank. And the correspondence bank that we use in FBN Quest is Standard Chartered Bank in UK. So you pay through them, so they will remit to Standard Chartered Bank Nigeria. And the reason why you are even paying to Standard Chartered Bank is because for mutual funds are more like public funds. And for public funds, they are highly regulated by Securities and Exchange Commission for safety. And a part of the risk management framework of the fund is to have separate custodian of the fund, then separate fund manager of the fund. So for FBN Dollar Fund, Standard Chartered is the custodian appointed for the fund, while FBN Quest Asset Management remains the fund manager. So it's because it's a public fund. So you have to root. Then for the app, you can show me after now. You can show me. I will guide you through it. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for a very good session. While Pastor Charles was talking earlier, he said something, he said my mind. A lot of us lose money because we don't bother to plan. We don't even bother to get educated. That's what, about some things. I thought you were going to say something about Bitcoin and the rest of it. For me, it's a no-go area at all. And I know I've lost opportunities. I've not regretted it, because even though I've seen the opportunity I've lost, I still run from it. But I think I've not pursued enough education about it. There are some questions I've asked myself that I can't say answer to. Now, what is backing it up? What is the value behind this social media noise around it? So I thought you were going to give us some education. You can't convince me to put money in there, but at least let me know more about it, so that when I'm probably talking to others, I can also educate and correct some things. That's the main question. After, I will see you also. Myself and my wife have an account with FBN Quest. And FBN went silent. Our money has been stuck there since maybe 2013 or something. So you can so please wake them up so that they won't lose more customers.
I will. Thank you, sir. So speaking to cryptocurrency and what have you, we have a regulator, and that is Securities and Exchange Commission. From the regulatory standpoint, we don't get involved in anything crypto. We don't even sell it. So not until maybe the nation now has a proper framework around it. Because the major reason why banks or even the regulators are advising against it is because it's too risky. Then even the data miners, people that are really, you cannot really hold them accountable. Like, it's not easy to hold them accountable. Unlike the normal commercial paper or a mutual fund, you know the issuer, you know everything. There are KYCs exercised on them. So for that part of the business, we don't. So then for account reactivation, one thing about investing with FBN Quest, accounts don't even go dormant. There might be no activities. No matter what you have, and it will keep yielding. Even if you decide to leave it for more than, you may be shocked that by the time I send your statement of account to you on Monday, you'll be like, wow. So that is, I believe, clear on that, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay.
I have two questions.
Okay,
on euro bonds. If you look at the sovereign euro bond, Ghana to be precise, what we are hearing today is that those that are invested in their bonds, they are likely to lose money because of the restructure. So how attractive is Eurobond in the long run? That's question one.
Okay.
The second question, maybe you have to be Nostradamus. The trend that we have seen in equity markets since the new regime and now has been very attractive.
Very.
And we know historically things have gone the other side. When is this likely to occur again?
Okay, like the downturn, right? The downturn. Okay, so speaking to the Eurobond, for example, you know, there are still sovereign bonds. They still remain the most secured form of investment. Though it's unfortunate that Ghana Eurobond went that way, even though there are still plans on that way to ensure that investors are still protected. So, but generally, largely speaking, Eurobonds are still very safe form of investment. Even in the history of Africa, even the level of Africa, people would have thought that by now we would have had recorded high level of non-performing Eurobonds. But I think, to the best of my knowledge, this is like the second time that we are seeing a Eurobond having issue in Africa history. So we are still hopeful, we are still following up, because there are some investors that at least we know that also invested in it. Because in FBN, we don't abandon you. We still try to carry you along. We keep giving you updates when necessary. So, but generally, Eurobond are still safe form of investment. Then for the equities market, the reason why we are seeing the trend, really, you know, investors, particularly the foreign portfolio investors, when they see a market where they can double their money, after following the devaluation, it became like opportunity for them to make more money. What their $1 could buy, or money what their $1 could get, it now doubled. So they became more interested in our stocks, and they focused majorly on some selected stocks like the banking industry, because they know that even FS gain will also improve the performance of the banks, and they will also enjoy more in terms of dividend. But it will remain like this for the foreseeable time. It has been like this even before this regime. It has been like this, and the reason is because inflation keeps undermining people's purchasing power. So the best is to just invest in, and following the ASI trend for the past about 8 years now, we've been seeing that level of consistency in the market. Last year, about 19% growth. Year before then, about same rate. So it will be, I'm hopeful. I don't want to be a Nostradamus of the other reversed trend. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you so much for the enlightenment.
Thank you, sir.
So I have two questions. One is basic, and the other one might require a little bit of thoughts. So the first one is, what is really the role of the custodian, practically, as in, I've heard so much about custodian. What exactly do they do? Then the second question is around portfolio management, and I'm glad you guys actually do portfolio management for high net worth people and maybe companies and institutions. But what's the guidance around maybe percentages of split, how you allocate funds within the portfolio? It would be nice to have an idea of how that split occurs.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so speaking about custodian, let me even give a little bit of education around, let's say the mutual fund, for example. Remember I said it's a public fund, and it is highly regulated. So we have 4 parties to the fund, a minimum of 4 parties. Sometimes there are even more than 4. The first party is the fund manager. That is FBN Quest in a case of FBN Money Market Fund, for example. We now have the custodian. And custodian for our money market fund is Citibank. We now have the registrar. Then we have the trustee. So for the custodian, what they do is to warehouse. You can't be the fund manager and still be the custodian of the fund. That, okay, put the money in First Bank. You know, it's still to reduce any level of risk, to protect contributors. So custodians are the ones that warehouse the funds. So for registrar, what they do is, remember I said entry amount differs from investor to investor. If you are coming with 1 million naira, for example, they will tell you, oh, this is number of units that you can buy. A registrar will take account of that. If you are coming with 5,000, a registrar will take record of your details and number of units you have. That is the function of a registrar, so that you won't contribute 5,000 and want to come and claim that you have 1 million. You know, registrar is to coordinate the amount. And we now have a trustee. Function of a trustee is very, very important in the fund. Trustee is to ensure that are people following regulatory standards, statutory standard of the investment, because people are funny. You may be shocked that some people will tell you, we want to go and buy T-bills for you. The money is somewhere in one real estate in Ekpe. You know, trustee is to give accounts, to check that are they following the statutory standard of the fund. Because like money market fund, for example, there are limited investment you can put it in. You cannot put it in any one oil and gas investment or one real estate because of the nature of risk. So trustees to ensure that are we following the standard of the fund. So that settles the one for custodian. And the second question, please, if you can. So for portfolio management, it still is a two-way thing. The investor is to tell us, this is my risk level. And if your risk level is low, of course, we give you a possible return on investment. We give you, and when we give you a possible return on investment, let's say if you have like, we can say maybe, okay, 15% at the end of the year. So 15%, we can now try that. If we outperform this 15%, this is how we will share the extra. So it's still part of portfolio management, but it's a two-way thing, like I said. Investor will give us every details, objective, risk profile, horizon, maybe short-term, long-term, medium-term. So with that, we put that into consideration to come up with. But there are charges, and charges is not static. It's still negotiable. We sit down to tell you, this is what we charge, this is what we are going to take. Sorry, sir.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, everything you have said looks encouraging. But the problem I have is that how do we manage government policies that are inconsistent?
Okay.
Because, for example, if you had money fixed before May ending, before the removal of subsidy, now the value of that money is gone. Because the aim of investment is, one, to have a security somewhere, and two, the value of the money. So like 10 million in May is no more, even 5 million this month. So how do we manage it? And I feel disturbed when I look at experts advising, and tomorrow another expert will come and rubbish. Like, for example, now, the CBN, the former CBN governor, spent 8 years. And we're told that he invested $10 trillion or so into a wrong fiscal. You understand? So my concern is that the CBN governor didn't work alone, the former CBN governor. He's a renowned economist. He had internal advisors. He had external advisors. We have the bankers committee and so on. So why could there be that anomaly in investment? That somebody else is coming to rubbish that 10 trillion was wasted. So it gives me a lot of concern. So which area can we look at that will give us element of stability? Because you didn't mention real estate. I'm not sure you know much about it. Because I feel that real estate appears to be more stable. You can manage real estate. The value doesn't go down if you sure of the title. But all this financial investment, government policy can throw them away. So please, how do we marry it?
Okay.
Looking at the different government policies.
Okay, let me start from investors' perspective now. Government policies will always be changing. Even if you observe every academic theory, there are criticism. No matter how perfect a theory or a theorem can be, there would always be some form of inconsistencies and criticism around it. So government policies will keep coming. NPR will keep changing. Asymmetric corridor, which is also important, we also keep changing. So, you know, as investor, what matters is to protect yourself against such changes. And first major thing to do is to diversify. Why put all money in fixed deposits when a portion of it can be in maybe stock or even properties? Investment in real estate is there. The only thing with real estate is just that liquidity. The time for liquidity could come and you may not be able to really sell or have access to your investments. But still, it is still part of asset growth investment. So as an investor, we must learn to diversify. Don't just say, people talk about money market fund. Every money, a money market fund. People talk about FGM bond. Every money. What if you are buying bond for 5 years and after 2 years, there is maybe price, you need money, but if you are to sell, it will be at a loss. So government policies will keep changing. What we need to do as investors is just to protect ourselves by diversifying. So regarding issue with the economy policy, you know, every CBN governor would always have his own objective. Even in the developed market, some will tell you, oh, I have a capitalist mindset. Some will tell you, I have a socialist mindset. So every policy will tilt towards what you feel is best. Because a socialist will tell you that socialism is the best. Forget all these rich men. Capitalists will tell you, no, this is how it should be. And policies will be. So as an investor, ours is just to get ourselves protected. Diversify. Put some in naira, put some in dollar, then at the end. But to stop government from this level of inconsistency is almost impossible. It's almost impossible. But we are hopeful. I still believe you're on the right track. I really, really believe so. Thank you. That's another thing. The environment dictates. Situation whereby they feel that the inflation is becoming too high, they can choose to tweak the policy that would favor the investment side. Situation whereby they also feel that they want to expand the economy, they want to follow through that, they want people to have access to cheaper loans. They can also change the policy, tweaking the NPR. So it's the environment that determines the policy. But apart from the environment too, every governor or every government now has his or her own mentality. What he or she feels that is best suited for the economy that they govern. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for this enlightenment program.
Welcome.
I like that it's direct and it's something that we can look at and we understand.
Thank you,
my question is, when you give somebody a fund, you know that there's a risk involved, no matter, as long as you're not the one running the business. When you have money on fixed deposits, and they will tell you that it's secured by NDIC, and yeah, in other words, you see it is regulated by SEC. Another one, I don't know. What value of your investment is secured in case your portfolio management invests wrongly? What percentage can you say is secured by NDIC or SEC?
So even for banks, let's speak from banking now. Not all your funds is secured, particularly if you have above 500,000. So they can only pay a portion. But from our own side, we are an investment company. We are not under the purview of NDIC. We are under the supervision of SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, and they don't insure funds. What they do is to ensure that agreement that you have with an investor is standing. You've promised an investor that you are buying a corporate Eurobond, maybe UBA Eurobond or even First Bank Eurobond. It's standing because they do supervision week after week, month after month. We even give reports on the funds that we manage. So there is nothing like insurance under this. But what matters is we tell you investments that are low risk, investments that are medium risk, investments that are high risk. And during the point of signing you on board for the investment, you will sign that, okay, this is it. I want low risk. Me, it's money market fund I want to. I don't want equity fund. It is now SEC that will now confirm. Situation whereby you now realize that these people told you that your principal is protected on money market fund. How come you invested 1 million and it's becoming 950? You can take it up with us. You can write to SEC. They will now have to check, but you must, before you go into any investment agreement, understand the risk level of the investment. And if it's high risk, fine. I want equity fund. If the prices are going up, fine. People that invested in equity fund now, they are happy. But what if next year equity fund is returning negative? It has happened before. So it's you as an investor, know what you want, know what you've signed for, and situation whereby the investment house is deviating from it, you have who to report to. SEC is there. Even if you send mail to them, they will reply, and they will investigate. Yes, they do that. And I will also say this, before you invest in any house, just go to SEC website. Registered companies are listed on that website. So if any one of them don't do as you agreed on, send mail to them, they will investigate them. Some can even lose their license. It has happened before. We've seen investment houses losing their licenses, some being jailed, some being blacklisted. So when it comes to investment around the stock broking, the asset management, trust me, you are secured in as much as you know what you signed for. That is low risk. This is what I want at the end. If you do FBN, fixed deposit, even if you are making loss on the fixed, no story, you will get your full money. Because it's fixed deposit, we promised, we gave you maturity date, we gave you the interest. No story, you will get your money. If you don't, you have the regulator there. Send mail to them, they will reply you. They have offices around. Go to any of the offices, they will attend to you. Because the first thing they will ask you, is the company registered with us? And situation whereby you also see a company that is not registered with SEC, but floating around as investment house, you also have a duty as a citizen to report such company. But in general, this is FBN Quest. One thing that I can always sell till Jesus comes is security and safety of investment in FBN. And that is why we have the structure. There is proper succession planning. I've worked in a place before now, like you mentioned, I was in Codros. Before Codros, I did FCMB. You know, there are succession planning. So even if I leave, but really, there is succession planning. You're covered. Right, sir.
Okay. It's not a question, really. It's just something that you mentioned that I think we all need to take seriously. You know, we don't take the pain to check companies, investment outfits that are registered by SEC. Few of them are known, not a problem. But some of us have actually dealt with companies, you know, on trust, believing that by the way their office is furnished and everything, they are registered.
All the CAC documents.
Exactly. MMM was not registered, for instance. So if you are dealing with them, you are dealing with a fraudster. That's what it means, you know. So let us always take the pain, and where you can't, ask, you know, people that you think would know, is this company registered before you put your money there? If not, you are actually also culpable of involving yourself in illegality. You know, so whatever sanction, whatever the law says about that person is also, you know, spreads to you. Then also he said something that I need us to take seriously. about the risk appetite. Some of us feel firm without even knowing what we are feeling. They ask you, what's your risk appetite? And you ask the question. They say, the higher your risk appetite, the higher the chances of return. And then you put that one. Who doesn't want to get high return? You know, but that means you might not sleep as well as the person that has low return. But the person that has low return also, even though his sleep is important to him, should know that he might not, all these things are probability, end up with enough return as the person that has high risk. Now, he's talking about Nigerian equity, the equity fund, for instance. He's making this thing returns. But the question you want to also ask yourself is that, by your own understanding, what do you think will happen in a month's time, in 2 months' time, in 3 months' time, in 10 months' time, in 1 year time? Is it going to still be? Because you are not going to hold your investment outfits responsible. They will lay all the cards on the table. The ultimate decision is yours. However, if you want to do the portfolio management, you understand, they will tell you your risk appetite. You know, he said it's 150. It's not everybody that comes by 150 million every day. So they will sit you down and be sure of there are certain questions. Please fill those questionnaires honestly. And then it will throw up your profile, you know, and on the basis of that, they will deal. But mind you, that the equity fund, the higher your risk, the most likely also that the lower risk will often guarantee your principal. So whatever happens in the investment climate, you will get worst case, you will get your principal with small thing or something. It might be high depending on the economy. But the high risk is not, all the products will not guarantee you that you will come out with your principal. So you determine. I mean, so I have, for instance, my pension fund. I moved it from a particular fund to a higher risk. And then they asked me to say, come, I hope you know what you are doing. I said, yes. It has paid me off. But I'm going to still move it very soon with what I'm seeing that is happening. Because the distribution of that money is more towards equity. And for me personally, I have said, look, that thing has got to BAM level. Maybe, mind you, Warren Buffett said that his own disposition to equity is that he will be courageous when people are afraid. Then because when people are afraid, they will sell down. He said, but it is when people are afraid that he becomes courageous. So, and that principle really is true of the equity market. So you saw that in November, everybody was selling some banks and everything. Some people looked at what was happening and said, this is the time for me to buy. And those people are better off. But then the question is to say, will that be sustained? Go and read that CBN governor's this thing. Please read it. It's important. Yes, it's worth it.
Thanks for that, sir. Thanks for the contribution. That was really helpful. But like I said, though, CAC certificate is not the same as SEC license. So they will show you we are registered. Registered by who? So they are not the same. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, praise God.
Hallelujah.
Since we are in church, if you look at that side, you will see that the people there are a bit, and if you look at this side, you see the people here are a bit. So I want to ask the question for the people that are a bit, and I'm going to use a scenario. I am 34 years old. I can only come by 100,000 or 200,000 every 3 months. Thank God you started with financial planning. And my financial goal is to at least have 1 million at the end of the year because I want to do something with it. What is the step-by-step to get there? That's for these people on this side.
Okay. So,
thank you very much for that question. In year 2003, I changed job from a place that is called City Never Sleeps. I went to a place in the quest for excellence. And I was working like 7 days in a week. I live in Ikorodu. On Sunday, I will go to church at K2. After service by 1, I will drive to Injolayemi Street. I'll be there. But there's a particular young boy. He's not meant to be in office, but I always see his presence. So, and the kind of work I do, you have to be risk averse, and then you must be suspicious of people. So I keep on looking at this boy, and the guy is so funny. That's what you need to notice. So he has, between 3 months of joining the place, this guy only has 2 white shirts, short sleeve, and 1 black trouser that he wore to work, with 1 shoe, which not bad, but you always see him sitting down. His desk is just at the back. My office is on this side. So one day I was not comfortable. You are not on night shift. Why am I always finding you here Saturday, Sunday when I come? So one day I came and he was not there. I was happy. Nobody was around. So I went to his desk. I just tapped his desktop, and the thing opened. The guy did not, the window was not. So I started searching for something, just looking. I was curious. Then the boy did not close his portfolio. He has been investing in stock. And this young guy, the portfolio was about 40 million then. So I look. This guy and myself, our age difference is so much. Our level difference is so much. I don't have investment like that. So I look. I search for any, there are some things that you run in the bank that they call cron jobs. Whether the guy is running some jobs that are moving money from one place to another. I didn't see anything. Okay, around 7 p.m., I entered my car, I left. The following day, I look at the young man. I called him to my office. What happened? What are you always doing here? Sir, you know, I am the only child of my mother. My father is late, and I live with my mother. And I read the book, Rich Daddy. Is it Rich Daddy? And so that he read the book, and he has started since. He started buying stock. 1,000 a year today, and he built a portfolio. So the guy was massively trading. That was why every day, rather than staying at home, he will come from Adekunle to Injolayemi, and he will sit with the... That time, internet is not as available as we have it now. So the guy is always there. By the time he told me, you know, that guy drove me to the stock exchange market, and I started building. Not competing, but it was just something that I couldn't fathom. A banking officer has been able to pull that string and no fraud. You have mentioned some places you have worked. The guy has left the place and gone to one of the places you just mentioned that you worked. So I will not mention his name. So what am I saying? It's not until you have 1 million that you make investments. You can start now. He said something, yesterday was the best time to make, but today is another opportunity. Go and invest. Invest small. Some of us here, the first property we got, the first place I worked there for many years. They didn't pay us investment. One man said, I invested 400,000 naira in this bank. Where were they? Their parents were in the village. Me, I took my 400,000, I invested. They said I should come and share them after we've paid them the best salary. But we went through and back. The bank finally decided to share 9.6% of the profit of that bank. In 1996, they shared me. The first one I got was 160,000 naira. That 160,000 naira, we bought the land in Ikorodu for 150. We did not, you have to use our own money to pay tithe, but we put the money together and do what? Bought that land. So you have to take some strategic decision, personal decision that could be injurious. You will not compare yourself with anybody. At my age, I can wear whatever I want to wear. But sometime at your age, you don't need to look at that boy across that is wearing some Gucci wristwatch. I mean, he's putting it on and everything. Buy your own fake Gucci wristwatch and carry it. Gucci na. If they are wearing some powerful jeans, don't look at them. Buy your bend down select, wear it, dust it well. Nobody sabi. You look good, you look clean, and you move on. But make necessary decision about your future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was enlightening.
Thank you, Pastor. You see, behind every glory, they say there is a story. When he asked his question, I answered, maybe he didn't hear. I said you should go and try MMM. There's a young man in my estate, and he came to me some months ago. I think he did a job for somebody, and they paid him 200,000. He doesn't have a job, so he just do. And he came to me that I should advise him, what can he put the 200,000 in? And I started speaking grammar. And he said something that will be giving me 200,000 every month. So when he said, I just look at him. I said, even MMM cannot. I think our young ones, sorry to use the word, are too ambitious, blindly ambitious. And that's why people fall into a lot of errors. In your presentation, you mentioned something about being realistic. It's good to make plans, but the plan must be realistic. At times, what you have may not get you exactly what you dream of, but it doesn't mean you can't lead there. But if you stand on 200,000, and you want to get 200 every month returns, you are likely to fall into error. It doesn't mean that one day, that 200,000 managing properly cannot bring you that, unless you have juju or witchcraft, because some people somebody that bought dollar at 750, and suddenly in 1 or 2 months, dollar became 1,000 naira. As that kind of thing doesn't happen every day, and most of us didn't see it, because if everybody saw it, it won't be. You get what I'm saying? So you can't use that kind of scenario to build your projection. So with, for example, the amount he has spoken about, and looking at your presentation, now there are things you can do that gradually this will grow. But to sit and want 100,000 every 3 months to become 1 million at the end of the year, it should not discourage you, but even MMM cannot solve that problem. Thank you. So the answer is be realistic in your planning if you don't want to fall into error.
Thanks a lot, sir. That was helpful. Okay.
I want to say a few things. It's actually to address what Pastor Ebinoba said about the inconsistency in policy formulation and implementation. The CBN issue, which is being addressed now, the act that established CBN gave a lot of power to CBN governor. That was why Emefiele could do what he did. And the National Assembly is already addressing it now. Trying to... but sir, the impact of Emefiele's policies or the way he ran CBN was so bad. We've not seen anything. Sir, we've not seen anything. Emefiele has caused us a lot of damage. Allegedly. So the National Assembly is currently reviewing the power that they gave to Emefiele through the act that promulgates CBN. Because, one, you cannot remove the governor. That was the mistake. Why should you appoint someone and you say you cannot remove him until he finishes his tenure? That's a mistake. That's a big mistake. And the management of
when there is law, there are also opportunities to use your own street wiseness that Tinubu use now. Arrested, lock up, make him.
But sir, he has caused damage.
I know, but that somebody cannot be resigned. It's not because people want to be politically correct.
Yes, yes.
If you don't want to be politically correct, you can vote for somebody just come back and make him to resign by himself.
You are correct, sir. So I think the issue around CBN office is being addressed, and once it is addressed, governor will not have autonomous power to do whatever he wants to do. There will be check and balances that will make sure that governors do not take unilateral decision when it comes to the management of the economy. And another thing which I want to say is this. But as you ask a question. My answer to that question is this. Myself and my wife want to have elaborate wedding. And despite the fact that I read economics, I wanted to, like, it's my wedding, it comes just once in a day. And my wife's mom approached me that, okay, you guys have about 1.5 million 17 years ago. Why don't you just do this wedding in a way that you won't spend all your money? And I was not comfortable with it. But at the end of the day, my wife approached me. It's good to have a wife that have your interests at heart. She approached me and she said, sweetheart, you know what? The plan we have is fantastic. You are not going to do this 2 times because he's not going to die and I'm not going to die. So the woman said, okay, why don't you put 500,000 aside and buy a land and use the remaining for your wedding, and don't even finish it. Her mommy is so conservative that she asked us how much do we have, and we bought a land. And the land, the woman did not stop there. She encouraged us to build it. She asked us, how much do you guys have? Do you earn? That's my wife's mom. She works in a bank. She earns more, but I manage the money. And that is talking about submissive. It starts talking about submission to your husband. My first car, I think we used my wife's money to buy it, and I'm the one driving it. But that's not where I'm going. Where I'm going is this. We bought the land, and the land now is almost 5 million. And the woman also encouraged us to do what? To build it. We built 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom. And today, we earn from that. And if we are going to sell it, plus the land, plus the property on it, right? You know, we might have probably between 10 million or 15 million. But the point I'm trying to buttress is this. Listen to your wife. Women are generally they are economists. Honestly, they are born economists. Listen to them. They will help you to plan your finance. And not only that, whatever money you earn, or whatever money you are going to earn at all, discuss with your wife. Be open to your wife. Many men are not open to their wife. Many men are not open to their wife. And the level of your wealth, I'm coming, sir. The level of your wealth, some people may not have the opportunity to be here. That's why I'm saying this. You see, the level you are going to get, so in terms of wealth, depends, are you getting me now? Whether you believe it or not, on your wife. My wife will tell me, don't buy a cloth of 150,000 for me. And anytime I'm doing a business and I don't have money, sweetheart, we are trying to execute this project. but there's no money. And my wife will freely, how much is it? And those were the money that we would have spent on what? On clothes. So this is what I have to say.
Thank you, sir. That was enlightening. Then, in FBN Quest, we open joint account as well. Husband and wife. We have the forms. So I think he wanted to ask a question. Okay, Daddy. Okay.
Praise the Lord. Yeah, my first question is, someone in 2019 started an investment, and the investment is like you have a sum assured amount after 5 years. You invest, let's say 200,000 naira every month, and you can take the money after 5 years. Dollar then was 360, $1 to 360 naira. The investment is still running. It will expire in 2024. Yeah, 2024? 2000 okay. So now dollar is 1,150 in the parallel market. You are still contributing. And as of today, if you want to check how your investment is doing, the performance, you're already losing 30% of what you have put in. Do you advise that person to continue in that, or to stop it, to put a hard stop to it now, take the money and look for other investments to do? That's one. My second question is on dollar investment. Dollar investment. Do you advise someone that started maybe this investment of wealth building? Wealth, they call it wealth builder. It's a kind of I don't know if it's money market fund or the other, but it's called wealth builder, where you contribute certain amount every month, and it accrues, and it's like compound interest.
Like the money market fund.
Yes, like yes. You have that, and before you go into that, the bank tells you that the first amount, let's say it's $1,000 you're doing every month, and they tell you that the first amount is for the bank as their own fee, and you're doing it. Now it's, let's say, six months gone already, and you know that it will take maybe another 1 year, 8 months, or 2 years to recover the $1,000 they have taken, and it's going to last. It has a total tenure of 5 years. So would you advise somebody to go into that? The third question is still on dollar investment. You have an investment, specifically, let me just mention, with Standard Chartered, and they tell you that before you do any form of investment, you have to pay a particular fee, some percentage. So I asked around other banks, and they say, oh, no, you don't need to, that's just bring your money. So how do they, are they Father Christmas that will just take your money, invest it, and give it back to you? Or how do they get their own profit? Okay. Is it wrong for this other bank to take a percentage up front, do you advise me to go back to that bank to invest, or do I need to look away if I have other funds to invest? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. Starting from the first question, you know, there's always a catch when the company tells you that contribute social amount every month for a particular period. Sir, is it an insurance company? Yes. So it's actually an insurance policy you are buying. But most times, maybe they don't speak louder when it comes to mentioning that. It is actually a policy. When an insurance company approaches you to be doing some and maybe monthly contribution, the essence is, should there be any case of maybe death or anything, they are going to guarantee amount assured. So anytime you are doing such investment, have it in mind that what you're actually doing is insurance, not actually investment. Because some, they don't even pay interest. And even if they now manage to even give you returns on that investment, usually single digits. So it's actually an insurance policy. So it depends. Some, maybe it could be maybe failing health, or for some reason you feel that it's best to do insurance. Why not? We have education insurance plan. So, okay.
Saving culture in this part of the world is very low. And what the insurance company, what they've leveraged on, because I've done some consulting for them before, is that when you assure somebody an sum, for example, they tell you, you are doing this insurance towards your son's schooling. He's already in secondary school and you want him to go to the best university. You don't start building up money for it in 5 years' time. Build it up now. Save towards it. By that 5 years, you just close your eyes and you write the bill. That is what they tell. And I've been doing it, and I'm still doing it. And that one, you know, we spoke to issue of environment before. The fact that dollar has skyrocketed or exchange rate has gone this way should not stop you from doing what, but you must mark to market. Mark to market to say, if I've used this money 2 years ago, this will be the value. But now, because of the consequences of the exchange rate, if I had to take this money and convert it to dollar, it will go down. So that in itself gives people heartache. So manage your heartache by not looking at it and continue to make your savings towards the objective. The way I do it, if I'm doing that insurance, I already have a targeted object that when the money comes, it's not that I will now carry my money and buy ticket and go to buy and go to the new world. No, that thing that is meant for upfront is targeted, and immediately it happens, spend it there, and you'll be fine. I've acknowledged it. It's part of life.
So let's even talk about life annuity. Yeah? So this is it. You enter into a contract, not expecting, and that's the paradox, not expecting to die. But the contract is to say, if you die, and you open your eye, you are okay, because that's why you do medical tests for some amounts. If you die, even if you have done that contract for 1 year, and this contract is supposed to be for 10 years, I will give your beneficiary, the manager of your estate, administrator of your estate, the money you would have contributed in 10 years' time. Now, mind you, the insurance company is actually carrying a big risk, because one could die in 2 years, in 3 years. But you are not looking at the risk that they are buying into. You are just looking at your own self. And that's why insurance oftentimes, we take a selfless act to say that I want to be sure that my family is covered. You understand? If anything happens to me. Unfortunately, it's not something that we have bought into in this climb. You know, but it's something that, just imagine how much that company will lose. So let's assume it's 10 million going to pay. I have already done 1 year, it's 1 million you've paid. that company is going to lose for covering your risk 9 million. Have you thought of that? Do you know how many people have actually, and that's why it's a pool of risk. Everybody is coming together to say, we want to be sure everybody in this pool is covered if anything happens to us. So, listen, stop looking at your own self.
So insurance is still advisable regardless. And when it comes to investment, you cannot be 100% correct. You cannot be. Then regarding the charges that the bank was actually asking you to commit to, you said you went to a bank for dollar investment, where number one, you need to be sure that the personnel is even telling you the truth. Because this is Nigeria, you may see people. I remember I used to work with one guy then. Giving out loans in the bank we were not charging. Fill the form, be processed, then maybe our disbursement, management fee will be removed. But this guy, what he was doing was, he tell customers, processing fee, he collects like some amount. He has been doing it for a very long time. Into his account. And you know, when it's, and probably he profiles the client. Once he feels that this client is not too knowledgeable, he tells, oh, just bring 20,000, bring 50,000, processing fee. He has been doing it for long. He now did it for another client. At the point of disbursement, they charge this customer management fee, and which is normal. The customer now had to call customer center. Why are you charging this again when I already paid at the initial stage? Paid to who? How? Where? They had to investigate, and they realized that the guy has actually been doing that because they had to further query all the loans he has been treating within that period. And he has been doing that. So some are not truthful. But you need to go a step further to verify that information. But like in FBN Quest, we don't charge you. Though we give you interest, returns, expected returns. And any return we give is net of every charges, which means back end, we have taken everything we are supposed to take. Like our specialized dollar fund, it has returned about, on the average of about 10.5% this year. So that does not mean that what is actually returned is actually 10.5. It's likely above, a little bit above 11%. So we are taking our own. So any interest we give you, it is net of every withholding taxes, net of charges. So you may have to consider FBN Quest for your dollar investment. Somebody was trying to. Okay.
Okay, thank you again very much. My question is, sometimes we have this idea or notion that the government controls everything. We just believe that there's a stage it gets to and dollar becomes too scarce and government can just freeze all dollar investment that have been dormant. I just want to know if it's true. And secondly, we also have this belief that sometimes government policy favors some certain people. Let's say I'm very close to the system. They can just tell me that there's a policy that will be coming out to, if you want to buy dollar, quickly buy. Or you want to sell, quickly sell. We just believe that those things happen. I don't know if it's true or it's not true.
Not exactly, though. Not exactly.
Then thirdly, if we, although you're not our portfolio manager for now, but if we can borrow your knowledge, almost 7 years ago, my boss has always said that dollar will get to 1,000, and we're thinking is prophet of doom, because he's been investing. If you give him 100 million today, tomorrow if you tell him bring 1 million, he will tell you there's no money. Look for something to sell. We just assume that he has converted the money, and if we may ask a direct question, let's say a month ago I wanted to invest in dollar, and I said, and it was 1,310. I said, okay, divide this money, buy dollar. At the time I just said, no, don't buy this dollar. Just keep my money for me. And now it looks like dollar is coming down. If I may ask a direct question, is it a good time to invest in dollar? Or we're still expecting that it will come down a lot further?
So number one question, the government don't control everything. They don't. It is still market forces, demand and supply. Capitalists have a role to play. It is not government alone. They can only come up with policy. And for every policy, there are pros, there are cons. When they tell you, there are some policies that would favor the larger population, like businesses. There are some policies too. if they realize that the policy that is favoring the larger population when it comes to access to loan, when they realize that that policy is skyrocketing inflation, they may also tune down on it. And if they do, it will start favoring that population of the SMEs and some businesses, and will likely favor those that want to do investments, those that are willing to do investment, because that is when they earn more money in terms of interest. So that is that. Then for the dollar investment, there is never a bad time to invest in dollar. We keep speaking to diversification. When you have investment in Naira, always ensure that you also have a bit position for dollar. Apart from even speculating, because some people that even invest in dollar, it could be even because they are speculating. It's actually not ethical. It's not an ethical practice, but people do it because of price speculation. But it's still best to invest in Naira and dollar, because you may feel that you don't really do expenditure in dollar today. What happens tomorrow? You may have a kid, a child that has a reason to travel, or maybe you know. So it's always best to diversify. So there's no wrong time to invest in dollar. You can always invest anytime. So, but when you are investing only with the mindset of, you are speculating prices, or you speculating prices, then most times the investor is on his own. You may make money, you may also lose money, but for ethical reason, for proper financial planning, that let me have Naira position, let me have dollar position. There could be need for dollar, there could be need for Naira. Then you're fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yes, sir, you can.
Thank you very much. You know, he has answered it correctly, but let me shock you. Our business deals in dollars. We have to pay partners in dollars every now and then. And we sniff for dollar every now and then. We got dollar at 1,050 Naira to a dollar. And the person that is selling is in the US. But I left church. I saw my phone. Naira appreciated, and is now black market below 1,000. The person keep calling us. Are you people buying or not? I said, this thing is coming down. That was Sunday. On Monday, what was offered to me at 1,050 had become 1,170. You understand? So it swings in the different direction. Initially, what we were doing, we use our phone to pay. But we realized that we are depleting our position. So we stop. If you have business today to pay, use the money of today and count your losses. If they pay you, you know, most banks will pay you at what they call official rate that they cannot give to you. I'm a major partner with your bank, so don't worry. I know what I'm talking about. So they give you at 147 something, or at best 850. You cannot get it for less than 220 now, as at yesterday. So if they paid you finish, make sure you have done the business that at least you will have balance that covers your partner's payment. Otherwise, you will realize that you are just working for partners. There will be no profitability. So dollar business is not something that government can control. There are major speculators out there that are gaming the system, leveraging on information. They know themselves. You talk to a black market guy here, you have a correct guy. The guy will tell you, okay, when you are looking for inflow, that is when it's most expensive. Pretend as if you don't need it. Let them be the one chasing you. When they are chasing you, the price will come down. So I learned that one quickly. So I don't chase dollar. Dollar must chase me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. So I think, okay. Yeah.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
I have 2 questions and 2 contributions
Okay,
to.
that's fine.
Praise God. With regards to whether dollar price is going to come down anytime soon, I will answer that from my own little knowledge and what I've seen. growing up in Nigeria, that it's not going to come down anytime soon because it's going to definitely go up more. Because if you look at the indices of how do we get dollars, we don't produce dollars, it's not our currency. So you can only get dollars if you render services outside or through capital importation, or if you sell goods and you bring in dollar. But if you look at Nigeria, all of that is not really obtainable. We have security issues. People don't want to come and invest, both portfolio investment and all of that. So it's definitely going to go up more. But as a young adult, my concerns more is how do I hedge against inflation? If I'm going to invest or when I'm considering investment.
Equity fund.
Okay, thank you. That goes to the second question I have. Because the second question I have is when you were mentioning the FBN equity, the MBN Quest Equity Fund. I was interested when you said this year it made about 53% and the inflation rate is about 20-something%. So if I'm investing, yes, although you called it high risk, considering my age, I'm taking it as a medium risk. But my question to you is, do you have a say in the shares or the companies you invest in? So okay, I don't have a say, so it's for you.
Professionally managed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then for your liquidity management, you mentioned something about liquidity management.
Yeah, that's the fixed deposit.
Yes. You said the return is fixed, it's minimum, but what's the minimum amount? Because I saw like there's some portfolios, 8% as this, 9% as this. So what's the minimum I can invest in?
Minimum is 5 million.
5 million. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. So I can use this.
So Shegun, two things I want to add to you. So if you are considering you want to determine where your money is invested in, you have one or two options. It's either you go into stockbroking directly yourself, open a stockbroking account, and then you instruct your stockbrokers what to buy. That means you need to study. Really, the information is out there, so you can do that. Then if your basis is on the grounds of morals and ethics, some fund managers have also now opened what we call the ethical fund, where you can determine that you know that the money will not go into, let's say, alcohol, for instance, companies that are producing alcohol or whatever. So that's another option. Now, let's talk about the ethical fund, because you are saying it's medium for you, and I'm looking at your face, and yes, and you are making me realize I'm getting old. So let me explain how it works. So investors pool resources together, and then they unitize the price. So this 50-something% now, I'm just using it as an instance, not just say, let's say it has returned 70%. As at sometime maybe last year, after unitizing, let's say the price of each equity fund that you buy was 100 naira last year. So this year, what it means is that it has increased to 170 naira. Do you understand? So the people that bought at 100 naira have actually, if they sell today, they will be going home with 170 naira. Now, the question is that, have you looked at the economy and say that the potential for growth, especially in the stock market, which is where they play around with the fund, is there potential to grow to 200, 300, now or in future? Or the potential is that the money will come down, the stock market will come down. Now, it's a decision you have to make. And if the potential was that it's going to go up, then put your money there. But if it comes down, don't hold anybody. And if the potential is that it will come down. Now, why I'm saying this is that the information on the performances of companies are out there. So banks are churning out excellent results. This year is going to be an exceptional year for almost all the banks because of the revaluation of FX. Now, that revaluation also, check the non-performing loans of banks, because it's going to impact those that have loan. Companies that borrowed loan at official rate of, let's say, 400, And now, are they going to have the capability to pay back? And what is the provision? I'm just giving one indices, so there are many that you play with. That are they able to pay? If you borrow that money, you are the company, will you be able to pay? The performance of the company, most of us don't even check. Are they doing so well that they will pay? MTN is declaring losses. No, not MTN. The telecoms are not doing as well. On the back of the revaluation. So all these things are connected. So don't just say the fund manager told you. He's telling you what he's seeing. And there's always a clause that fund managers will put that there's no guarantee of future return. You understand? So please, it is a personal decision. And you must be almost very sure. There's no guarantee for anything anyway. But be sure that irrespective of this thing, you made an informed decision. It might pan out for you. It might not pan out. But know that you've made an informed decision. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. But like I keep saying, diversification is key. So regardless, on the average, you're fine, you're covered.
Okay, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. I want to ask around the money market fund. You mentioned where you place the investment, which include bank placement, treasury bill, and other market securities. So I want to find out for the subscribers. So do you let them know how you place this money so that they can be part of, the decision on where, the fund is invested? That's one. And then withdrawal from the fund. So what is the average processing time? For example, I want to withdraw money from the fund. So how long does it take, to withdraw the money? And then lastly, I want to ask a question around corporate governance in the Nigerian stock exchange market. Because apart from government policies, we've seen a situation in which some companies, so to say, because of not so good corporate governance, try to affect their stocks. And that happened maybe some years ago when the stock prices, crashed. I was a victim because I lost money. And since then, I've not come back. Because my concern has always been this issue of corporate governance by some of the companies that are quoted on the Nigerian stock exchange market. So from your experience, so how do you, assure someone like me that at least this issue of corporate governance is being addressed in the Nigerian stock exchange market? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. Wonderful question. So the first question is, are investors carried along when it comes to asset allocation on mutual funds? Yes, but the decision is statutory. I mean, based on the discretion of the fund manager. That is FBN Quest, and we follow statute. We follow the law to invest. Money market fund is not allowed to be exposed to equities market. We don't. It is not allowed to be exposed to the real estate market. We don't. So we follow things that are statutory when it comes to management of the fund. But what we do in FBN Quest monthly, we send out our fact sheets to contributors to the fund. We send to them. Even, in fact, I intend to send out, because I plan sending out these very slides to all the attendees. In addition to this slide, I'm going to send the fact sheets for the month of October. So monthly, we send out our fact sheets to subscribers, to investors, where they know that, oh, so amount is in fixed step, is in interbank placement, is in commercial paper, is in T-bills, just for clarity. And every information on the fact sheet can be confirmed by the trustee appointed to monitor the investment. So we do that. So for redemption, the redemption takes 48 hours. But in FBN Quest, we try to even outperform that. If you request for money in the morning, before close of business, you will likely get it. We try to do it even before 24 hours. But the standard time is 48 hours. And redemption can be done on the app. You may not need to even be writing, but if the amount is more than 2 million, you will need to fill the form, then send to the customer service email. It will be treated if it's being sent before 9:30 that day, there is every possibility that you will get it the same day. And talking about corporate governance, it was an issue. And after the collapse, though I think I was still a very young boy then, but things we read, there was a corporate governance code that SEC had to come up with, headed by Mr. Peter Saidatedo, the founder of Stanbic. So there was a code then. So and over time, they've been adjusting the code. They've been tweaking it to be in tandem with market reality to ensure that what investors experience then is not repeated. And trust me, there is more transparency in the market. There is more regulations and check and balances in the market. So rest assured that if you give the market another thought, you will be safe. If not for anything, for the sake of diversification. When you have some money in money market, you may also consider some selected stock. And there are some stock, they are fundamentally like strong. You don't see them moving when it comes to price movement, but they are there. They are kind of defensive stocks. I can name some, but for maybe when we talk. So I think that's clear, sir. All right, sir. Okay, so maybe the last question. Oh, and she should be the last. She'll be the last. Yes, very important.
Okay. Praise the Lord.
For fairness. Hallelujah.
What would you advise someone at the age of, say, 47 years?
Okay.
That person wants to earn, say, 1.5 times his current salary after retirement, and he wants to retire at the age of 55, not 60, early retirement. At that age, he wants to be earning his current salary times 1.5. What would you advise that person? What kind of investment would you want that person to go into? Let's say the person's salary is X dollar. I'm trying to use the dollar equivalent because it's more stable. It's more stable. It's more stable, not naira. So X dollar. So what would you advise such person, barring the what do they call it? Retirement investment that is on. You're just barring that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
For those that are looking at investment income at retirement, number one investment I used to advise is even the bond. A bond that can be giving you biannual coupon payments. So bond is really, really advised. And one good thing about buying bonds, you may be surprised. I remember there was a period I invested about 70 million for someone in a bond. Just within maybe 7 weeks or thereabouts, the person decided to sell, and the person sold at over 95 million. Just within a few weeks. Yes, it happens. Not common though, but it happens. So when it comes to taking chances like that in the bond market, it is possible. The person can choose to invest in some bonds, then probably take time to be studying price movement in the market, then have an opportunity to sell and make good money. So it happens. But aside investing in bonds, money market fund is highly advised. If not for anything, liquidity. You know, when you are a retiree and you know that you have money, you can be doing redemption every week, collecting money for food. You're fine. So money market fund is really advised, and considering the level of risk, is really low risk. And for retirees, is an investment fund that really give them the best buffer. Yeah, thanks. So she's there.
Praise the Lord.
Okay.
You want to say?
Please.
There's a formula I want to give you, eh? And write it down. So you've got 8 years to work. From the personnel that you drew up for 7 years to retire at this in 8 years. Now, the person's current salary will not remain the same salary until 8 years. there might be some adjustments. So it is the person's present salary, gross salary, multiplied by not just 8 years, but 8 years plus 15 years, because 70 years is the normal thing that is used to sustain even beyond 70 years. So multiply by 8 plus that, how many years now? 15 years, that's 23 years. Less 20% of the amount. Now, this will guarantee the present salary if there was no return. But studies have shown that the average return over years, good time, bad time, will always average between 8 and 10%. So when you build that into that, that will sustain you, up to whenever you leave. And that is the formula that is used in the pension industry, that is used consistently to guarantee that this person will be able to earn this amount. But then it goes beyond that. So inflation, where would it be? People always talk, so we have not factored inflation because you are just shaking your head. It's going to increase the amount the person will contribute. No, dollar is so look at it. The amount they sold house in 1980 in US, it's not the same amount they sell today. Inflation is an international worldwide phenomenon. So whenever we talk about Nigeria, when this person came, this was the amount. It's not the same amount that Obama, they were buying things in Obama that they buy now. You are saying inflation. How many people earn 100 million in US dollars? You understand? It's relative to what we earn here. And that's why our own is double digit, our own their own single digit. If you multiply that amount in the single digit in Nigeria, it gives you double digit as well. So inflation is, in fact, inflation I will say is not caused by us. It's caused by what happens in the world. For instance, even though it's far-reaching than this thing. So that formulas, if you want to now be very detailed, I mean, I can get somebody to talk to you. We will now put the inflation. That tells you, so it tells you how much you should, contribute today to set aside as an investment, that will give you that level of returns. And that one we guarantee. So people do this deliberately. So I have a colleague that will be retiring in the next 6 years, and she's saying that she wants to be sure that she will earn 5 million, when she retires. And to be honest, she's actually setting the money aside in a voluntary contribution, setting it religiously. And she's almost meeting the target because it will tell you how much you must contribute, you must have in your account. And that's not even talking about pension, not talking about other investments she has. God will help us.
Thanks a lot, sir. That was really helpful.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
My question is, it's a layman question for a first-timer. If I'm a first-timer, I want to go into investments. And this is also in my mind. How does the CBN and the NDIC protect my money? For instance, if there is an eventuality, what happens? What fraction of my money does the NDIC give to me? Is it the entirety of it, 100%, or just like a lump sum for everybody? If I have 5,000 and someone has ₦1 million and there is liquidation, what happens? Do I get my entire 5,000 and does he get his entire 1 million? Or there is a lump sum, like a fixed amount for everybody regardless?
No, okay, thanks a lot for that. So in the investment world, NDIC does not insure investments. And that is why when you are going for an investment, you need to understand the kind of investment you're going to. If you are doing a fixed deposit with an FBN, for example, as maturity, you have, either FBN makes profit or not, you have to collect your principal and interest. That is the fact. But let me assume that the question is from the perspective of your savings in the bank, because bank savings are insured by NDIC. So there's a portion that they give, and I think the highest they give is 500,000. You may confirm it's 500,000. So if you have above 500,000, sorry, what you get is 500,000. So what the banks, what CBN now had to do, or what they've been doing, is to ensure that customers are secure, they are covered. That's why they keep increasing maybe the capital adequacy level, you know, all these capital requirements. It used to be 2.5 billion, now is even 25 billion, and I think even tier 1 banks are even paying more than that. So they keep coming up with policies. I was even reading somewhere, maybe was it early this morning on Nairametrics, that there are plans on their way to even increase the capital level for banks. So this might force some banks to even merge. Banks that don't have the capacity to even meet this requirement, they may be forced to sell off or to merge. But considering the financial framework that we have in Nigeria at the moment, banks, customers they are secured, they are safe. And if you are coming to the investment world, trust me, once an investment has been identified as low risk, you get your money. So that's how it works.
How does OPay, PalmPay, all those transaction free, how do they make their money? Because banks are going to lose a lot of customers. I'm one of those. How do I do transfer? 3 times a day, you come on my 15 naira, 20 naira, and OPay is free. This one is free. So how do they make it that banks are not able to go that route?
Okay, so I think there was a time, maybe 2 years ago, we were able to see financial statements of one of these fintechs. Trust me, it raised a lot of concern. You know, when they try to even like appear good out there. But back there, it's not easy, but sometimes they don't mind, they bear it because they are trying to also capture the market. So saying that they will take over from banks is not likely, because even the framework to set up a bank. So yes, you can, and I think we conclude from there.
You see, I want us to be, when we are informing people, we have to inform them correctly.
Yes.
You know, fintech is a kind of bank. And you know, there's what we call money creation, right? When we talk about money creation, is the ability of you to turn your deposits to loans. So what fintech does, OPay and what have you, what they do is that, I know most of you don't put your money, you don't allow your money to rest with them, right?
It's movement.
You move it. But some of you that leave your money, what they do with it is that they loan it. I get me now. So it's from that loan, and don't forget that it is run on technology. So the rate of their expenses, I get me now, is really low. I get what I'm saying now. They don't need to have staff like traditional banks. So, but we need to encourage them.
Yeah, of course, we need to encourage them, definitely. Hallelujah.
Let me read something to you. And that's from this. See, information is always out there, but the problem we have is ourselves. So let me read something out to you from the CBN governor's speech yesterday. He said technology will continue to play a critical role in delivering financial services and enhancing financial inclusion. He said, however, recent developments in the payment services landscape have raised concerns regarding the use of technology and existing license and regulatory framework. We have observed that some licenses are operating outside the approved activities, breaching the boundaries set for them. He said any intentional or non-intentional non-compliance will be subject to sanctions. So we are not mentioning names. And thank God I don't work in the bank again. So, and this does not translate to everybody in the payments service industry. But there have been concerns that some of them, just like it happens in banks also, mind you, have actually sugar-coated their financials to look good. Because this is that I'll set up something, make it look good, build up the value, the valuation of that listing, and sell. You know, and then when I sell, the person carries this wahala from there. So the one he's talking about is a known public information, but we still not mention the name. I mean, it's all over the place, where they were recording losses in millions of this thing. Billions even, and they had to lay off people. But the way you are not, it's like you know about the case. So when even in the banking industry, so I will talk about this one because there are no more. There were banks like Metropolitan where they did not charge, because that money you pay for it, that charge does not go to the banks or to the payment service. So they share that money. The what that even comes to you is minimal, you that is even conducting, and you pay services for that. So just be mindful. I mean, even with the banks, as I said, you know, be mindful of where, because when they said they will recapitalize, some banks did not recapitalize. They were not able to make it. So just be mindful. Study. Some of these people, Lagos State, sorry, they are showing my face. Can you take my... A state government published its expenditure recently. And some of the things they wrote in the expenditure were something that all of us did not read. Except some people started raising doors to say, how can you say you spend this money on this thing? So people have perfected the art of putting those information out there, knowing fully well that you and I will not read it. And some that will read it will say, tell me, all I know is that I'll protect myself. They bought vehicles for 400 and something million that are sold in the open market for less than 200 million. They said they repaired the mosque, is it church now, for 500 million. Do they have the rights? Which church? They went to look at the church. Which church did you repair? The federal government, before they left, the last dispensation, said, and most of us don't even remember this thing, that they were going to spend 5 billion to resurface the Third Mainland Bridge. Did they do it before they left? The money was accounted for in the budget. The money was spent. But the Third Mainland Bridge, that surface was still the same thing. Did anybody even connect the two stories? You understand? So, Sister Kate, what we are saying, you are your own best financial counselor. But please, read the financial. Some people bought, when the capitalization was going on the first time, some people bought shares of banks that were going to go under, that were going to be swallowed up. And the information was there. You ask yourself, how can you buy this thing? Yet, we are undersubscribing to companies that we know will make it big. We are undersubscribing. So now, where are those this thing? Some bank shares were sold for 3 naira 50 kobo. Some were sold for 7 naira. The 3 naira 50 kobo, some of those banks are valued at over 60 naira today. Some 30-something naira. But most people didn't buy into some of those banks. So check, read, familiarize yourself. This thing is said by CBN governor, expressing concern with some of these things that you are expressing concern. But we won't know. So ask yourself to say, do you want to, your risk appetite again, you can do with anybody you like. You know, there are so many of them now. There are 1,001. And you will always get to the point of uncontrollable growth. And then it will implode. Then you will now know the real ones. So they are very well, I'm not selling for anybody. So if you sell an MTN Momo, for instance, I probably can go to sleep with it. Because they have something at stake. If that company goes under, they have something. We're going to do something in the industry. And then we're looking for who to. That thing has given us problems. We got our fingers burnt. Regulators came with sanction and everything. And then we said we needed a project manager, somebody to help us look at it dispassionately. And then we did the request for information. And then 4 people came up. 4 of them we narrowed down to 2. And one of them will give us a very reasonable price, a local player. And then the other one was very exorbitant. Everybody was going for the local player. And I said, come, if this thing, we get our fingers burnt again, what is at stake for this small local player? The one we went with is EY. Because beyond Nigeria, whatever happens to them in Nigeria can impact their stock prices abroad, all over the world. And then we decided to go with them. And that is a deliberate decision. Because you want to be sure that if anything happens to you, what is at stake for this person? So there are 1 million and one. Today when I go to all these payment services this thing now, you need to scroll down. But thank God you can search. Because I'll just search and take the one. But you know the 1, 2, 3, 4, that they have something at stake. And please stick with them. I didn't mention any name. Stick with them and just be at peace with yourself.
Definitely, 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 definitely. Definitely, definitely, we will. Definitely, definitely, definitely. All right, thank you, everyone. So, like I said, I have there's a paper here where you can put in your email addresses for you to get the slides and also the fact sheets and some other information necessary. So, thanks, sir.
Please, let's give a round of applause for our facilitator. It's been a very engaging session, though we started quite a bit late, but I think at the end of the day, it's very rewarding. I've tried to summarize the takeaways. I'm not going to be repeating what has been discussed, just bullet points. First, we need to plan. Financial planning is key. And financial planning without action is incomplete. So we need to act on the plan. We need to seek knowledge. Knowledge is very key, and I think that has been repeated again and again. Then, in terms of the investment outlets, there are different opportunities for everyone. So I don't think anyone is left out. There is opportunity for small investors. I think on the slide, we saw minimum investment of 5,000 naira. And I even remember that you did mention federal government savings bond, which some of us invest in regularly when we see the price attractive. Then for the large investors, there are also opportunities. So no one is left out. Yeah, you are hearing that. We need to sacrifice in terms of what we consume. There is no income that is ever enough. That's the reality. So you have to give and take. So there are some things you have to let go of to be able to invest in the future. Then we need to take risk. But when we are saying taking risk, not MMM risk, reasonable, legitimate risk, we need to shine our eyes. Important also is the need for us to do periodical review. I am a victim of that at some point in my investment life. I look away for a few days, and by the time I'm seeing what is happening, I'm wondering, how did it happen in just a few days? So we need to do regular periodical review. Then again, in terms of how we invest, we can invest directly if we believe we have the knowledge to do so, or we can acquire it, or we go through investment outlets, the portfolio management, partnering with the likes of FBN Quest, and other money market instruments, other equity instruments that FBN Quest and other like corporate bodies have. When is the time to start? Yesterday is the best time, but when is the next best time? Today, now. So let's not delay. Every delay. Let me give a good example. Here in small gathering, when we have our men's meeting, direct meeting, we used to talk about stock. I remember in May, I mentioned that, oh, stock is still attractive, that I was scared, but I still went back into it. And some of us were saying, oh, okay, I'll talk to you, I'll come back. Between that time and now, check it out. What percentage growth has been recorded in the stock market? So the time is now. Let's not delay. Also, it is important that we diversify our portfolio. Do not put your eggs in one basket. It is risky. If everything is into equity and there's a downturn in the equity market, you know what it means. Last but not the least, And I think I'm happy that this was raised. We need to partner with our spouses in our investment. And I think that we'll be dealing more with that in the evening. In all, I'll say we need to remember that we must have God as a major input in everything we do as Christians. Because I've had an experience where at that time I did not have enough knowledge, but God helped me to escape the crash in the stock market. But I learned from that. I'm wiser now, but with God. Last but not the least, everything has its time and season. There is time to go into one form of investment, and there's time to go into another form of investment. We just need knowledge. So on that note, I want to thank our facilitator very much. One, for being patient with us. He came very early. Some of us actually met him here. Thank you very much for your patience. And I'm sure the interaction that you have witnessed today, you can see that it was worth the while. Thank you very much. May the Lord honor you in Jesus' name. And for every one of us that has attended today, I believe we have a lot of takeaways, and I believe that as we go out, we will not just say we have attended a workshop, but we'll make the best use of it. Thank you very much. God bless everyone. See the couples in the evening.